He raised his glass. "To 10 years of us," he said. His smile sharp enough to cut. The crowd clapped, his co-workers, his parents, our friends, an audience he'd hand-picked. Then he reached into his jacket and slid a crisp envelope across the table toward me. "For the next 10, without you," he whispered. I didn't flinch, I didn't blink, I let him think he'd won. We weren't always like this. I met him when I was 23. He was magnetic in a way that made the room bend toward him. He saw me before anyone else did, or at least that's what I believed. He carried me into his world with confidence, with promises, with warmth. I thought it was love. Maybe, at one point, it was. But love has a weight, and his grew heavier. Nights out that didn't include me. Phone turned face down. A new cologne I never bought him. A smirk when I asked simple questions. I wasn't blind, I was patient. The first sign was small, a lipstick smear, faint, on his shirt collar. Not mine, too pink, too bold. He laughed it off. Printer ink from the office. I nodded, smiled, and washed it myself. The second sign was louder, a message on his smartwatch when he left it charging by the sink. Just one word: tonight. I didn't move. I memorized the sender's initials. By the third sign, I stopped waiting for confirmation. I didn't need it. His betrayal hung on him like a tailored suit. He expected tears. He expected screaming. He expected me to crumble. Instead, I learned to listen. I listened to where he kept his keys, where he left his files, what he muttered in half-sleep. I watched the way he checked his reflection before leaving, and how carefully he deleted texts. And then I began planning. Step 1 was silence, the kind that unnerves. I smiled at dinners, poured his drinks, packed his bags. He thought I was still his shadow. But while he slept, I traced the edges of his accounts. I learned passwords disguised as anniversaries, his mother's maiden name, his first car. He was predictable in ways he believed made him untouchable. Step 2 was patience. Revenge doesn't bloom overnight. It needs timing, an audience, the right stage. Step 3 was tonight. The party was his idea, of course, our anniversary. He arranged the decorations, the speeches, the photographer. He wanted a spectacle. He wanted me humiliated in front of his kingdom. I wore red. Not the timid dress he laid out for me, but silk, cut sharp, the kind that makes a room fall quiet. I kissed his cheek and told him I couldn't wait for the night to begin. The envelope arrived just as dessert was cleared. Divorce papers, folded crisp. He smirked. He wanted me to read them out loud, to choke on the words while his parents looked on. But I had brought something too, a silk-wrapped box, small enough to hold in one hand. "Before we toast again," I said, my voice calm, "I have a gift. For your mother." She looked at me, puzzled but curious. Mothers are always curious. She unwrapped the ribbon, lifted the lid, and froze. Inside were photographs. Him and her, the woman from the watch message. Different hotels, different cities, their faces uncovered. His hand always on the small of her back, like it used to be on mine. Silence spilled across the room. Forks dropped. The photographer lowered his camera. His mother's lips parted, but no words came. She turned to him, eyes heavy with disgust, then back to me. And then she stood, clutching the box to her chest, and walked out without a sound. He never followed. The collapse began immediately. His father excused himself, muttering under his breath. His colleagues avoided his eyes. Even his mistress, yes, she was there too, slipped out the back before dessert plates were cleared. And me? I sat still, the divorce papers untouched. I raised my glass, finally, and said, "To 10 years. May the next 10 be just as honest. He stared at me, pale, cornered, stripped bare under the weight of his own spectacle. He had wanted an audience. I gave him one. The fallout was as I'd mapped it. His mother stopped answering his calls. His company began to whisper, then distance. The mistress, once bold, vanished when she realized she was never more than leverage. And the papers he served? I signed them 2 days later, on my terms. By then, half of what he thought was his was already mine. I had transferred assets quietly, filed claims strategically, with evidence he had carelessly provided. He thought he'd orchestrated my downfall, but he never realized I had written the script months ago. Do I regret it? No. Love blinded me once, but betrayal sharpened my vision. I didn't need to scream, to fight, to beg. Silence was louder. Proof was stronger. Timing was deadlier. That night, when his mother walked out and he didn't follow, I saw it clearly. He was already alone. I didn't ruin him. I just revealed him. And the best part? He did it to himself. I just held up the mirror.